everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be working on a speed painting that I did using the Aqua drops by Shimiki, along with using the opaque white that I also purchased. Now, if you guys are interested in any of the products that I'm using in today's video, I do have those listed below underneath my Amazon affiliate links, so you can easily find those down below in the description. So in this video, I am going to be using these not just to do like a color chart like I did the last time, but I'm actually going to put them to work and actually doing a Easter theme, like the colors, and doing a bunny using these drops. I'm also going to use them in two different ways. The first way is I'm actually going to run these through an airbrush just to kind of see how they handle. And then I will go in and do the watercolor itself using a brush and some water. So we're going to do that, but it's all going to be done in a speed painting. After that speed painting, we are going to go over what I felt and how things handled in using these products. But then I may end up adding a little bit more to that bunny just to kind of have some fun. So I will definitely go over that with you guys. So let's go ahead and cut the chit chat. Let's turn this around and let's get started with our speed painting. All right, so I went ahead and started out with the airbrush. I did like a light yellow by mixing my white and my amber colors together. I mixed my red matter with some white to make that pink. And then I went ahead and used some water inside of my little canister on my airbrush, mixed in with some green to make it really super wet. That way I can dry it off with a paper towel and make some really cool designs for like this grassy moss coming up on the bottom. Now here it looks like I'm using white, but I'm really not. I'm just using a wet brush and I'm coming in and removing the color watercolor from the canvas board. That way I can kind of see what I'm working with and kind of see some of the areas that I want to be a little bit lighter. So that definitely helps out. And if you go ahead and transfer on top of your airbrushing with the watercolor, whenever you take your brush that is damp or wet and start trying to remove some of that watercolor from your canvas board, you're actually removing some of that pencil or that transfer graphite from there too. So it kind of like acts as a little bit of an eraser because the graphite is stuck to the watercolor. So you remove that top layer, the pencil actually came off with it. So it made it super, super nice to be able to work with. Now, I did not have a brown in this set that I have here, but I made brown just by mixing some of my reds and blues and yellows, and I was able to make this nice brown. Basically, you hear artists say, don't make mud. Well, whenever you're wanting brown, you definitely want to make mud. And then that, excuse me, that way you can come up with some darker shades. So I was able to do that. And so it was just a whole lot of fun with this set. And here is the final little piece, or at least I think it's the final piece. I may be adding a little bit more to it. We'll just see. All right, so here is my little bunny that I did using the Shimiki Aqua drops. As you can see right here, I went ahead and used my airbrush with them just to kind of see how that felt and how it worked, using them in an airbrush. And what it was is that the actual like Aqua drop stuff is really, really thin, so it works really well in the airbrush. Now when you add a little bit of the opaque white, so that way you can get some of these kind of like pastel-y, and it looks really like Easter kind of colors. They're more pastel looks when you add the white to these, plus that it makes it a little bit more opaque. But when this stuff here is really thick, so whenever I added like a couple drops of the white or a little bit more of the white to this color, it made it really thick. And I think my airbrush was having a little bit trouble just trying to push that through my needle because I have a thin needle in it. So I went ahead and used water to dilute it inside of my little airbrush. So when I diluted it with water, it had no problem be able to push the mixture through very easily. So it was just with the white. The white is a lot thicker. So, but anyways, just adding a little bit of water to it, it still did a really nice job with doing the background. And then I went ahead and used the watercolors over here to create the bunny. Absolutely loved it. I was trying to pull some of the colors away from the canvas watercolors to make more of a lighter color. If you want to go lighter, which I'm actually thinking about doing, because whenever I first got this, I thought it was more, when it says opaque white, that you can actually use the white straight and just kind of add maybe couple little highlights here and there if you wanted to, like go back and do it, but it's not like that. This here mixes with the colors to create more of a lighter tone, so, and it makes them more opaque. So it's a little bit different. You can't use this straight by itself, otherwise it kind of just evaporates and goes away. But if you mix it with the other colors, you can create a lighter color out of them, which is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull out my bleed proof white. This is Dr. Phil, or not Dr. Phil, Dr. P.H. Martin's. I don't know why I don't think that whenever I see Dr. P.H. Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white. So I'm going to end up using this. And all these products, I'm going to go ahead and list, but all like this one here, the Dr. P.H. Martin's and the opaque white, I'll list those all in the description below underneath my Amazon affiliate links. So if you guys want to check those out, you're more than welcome to check them out. But if you ever use the bleed proof white, you'll notice that, look at that, it's not runny and it is really, really thick. That is okay. All you do is you take a wet brush and you move it around in there and it easily dissolves. So it does end up like that. Don't be scared if you think that, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with it. It's not. That's just how it is. So what I was going to do is take and use some of this, maybe create some really bright white highlights like in his eye, maybe a couple of little hair marks in some areas or little fur marks or like right around the eye. Do a little bit of that, but I was also going to mix it with some of the Aqua drop just to make it like a little bit more. I know that this was opaque, but even though I mixed it, it was just, I wanted to see what it would do if I mixed it with this and then this, and if it gave a different result. Because for some reason I have a funny feeling it will. So let's go ahead and try that out right now. All right, so I'm going to take some of this Aqua Drop, the amber color that I was using, and I'm going to go ahead and put some more in this area, maybe some in this area. I guess I should have just done white. Let's go ahead and take our Dr. P.H. Martin's, and I'm just going to rub it around. It's a nice wet brush, and see, you can put it in there. Okay, so we got just a little bit in there. I'm not going to use a whole bunch. If I need more, I can always come back and get some more. I wanted to take a little dip of some of this amber color, maybe just a little bit more. Mix it in with the white. There we go. Kind of like how that looks. And we'll just see how exactly how light this is, because I am not for sure. It might be too light. It might be, no, it ain't that bad. So that's if you want to create some more, create some little fur marks. And since it is watercolor, if you don't like something, you can always end up changing it. Just to kind of add a little bit of something, like little textures. And if you don't like these harsh little lines, like there's too much, you can always come back through. What I'm gonna do is just basically soften these little edges out. I don't have to do it right away because like I said, we're using watercolor, so it reactivates. I don't want to get too carried away, but definitely wanted to add just a couple little features in here. I don't know if he had, yeah, he had a little bit of fur kind of coming up through here too. He had like this little mohawk thing kind of in here. So that's what I went ahead and gave him. Gave him a little mohawk. I thought he was kind of cute. If you want to add maybe a little bit more of the amber color to it. And see, it doesn't, whenever you add the P.H. Martin bleed proof white, it seems to not, it adds a different color to it. Like it almost makes it not as pastel yellow, but almost like a peach kind of color. It's kind of a little different, like it's definitely a different color. And like I said, I ain't finished with this yet, so we are definitely gonna have to come back through and soften some of these little areas out. I'm gonna add a little texture in here, maybe in here just a little bit. Don't want to do too much. Maybe in this little area. I'm just adding just some random little fur marks in here. Looks like it may be a little bit too light. I'm going to come back through and soften out some of these edges. So cute. He's so fluffy. I do like him though. I probably didn't really need to add those. I'm going to try to soften them out just a tad. Not all of them, just a little bit. Just kind of make it a little bit lighter in here. Kind of coming down. His little cheek. But I definitely wanted to come in here and just kind of add some little fur marks that kind of come out and away from this little area, especially where the highlight would be. This side wouldn't get as much. Well, actually it could. Let's just go ahead and do this side here. Maybe just a little bit on the edge of his leg. So very cute. So I still have to do like little whiskers on him, and I haven't done that yet. Let's see here. And those would have to be really, really tiny. I'm hoping that this right here might do it. We'll have to see if I can get a nice sharp point from this or not. I should. There we go. Some of these whiskers, you're probably like, wow, you made a couple of them a little thicker there, but it's okay. This is just a cute little bunny, and I'm not looking for anything extremely perfect, but I am looking for cute. I'm going to come through here and just add a couple of little wispies, maybe here and there. Because I definitely don't want him too even. So just a couple really white ones just kind of thrown in there is all I'm wanting. I may have added too much. I think he's so cute. I don't know if I really care for that one too much. Let's just kind of soften that out with a little bit of water. I just think he's so adorable. And I know you can get carried away with this stuff just to add so much in. And I am definitely the type that likes to get carried away, so I have to watch myself. Add some right in here, maybe some bigger clumps. There's some clumping going on, especially in this area. You're probably thinking, oh no, you just wiped out a lot of my yellow. I'm going to come back through though. May have to redo that whisker there. I wanted to soften that up just a little bit and add a little bit more of a lighter tone. This little cheek fur. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush out. I'll have to add a couple more whiskers in there back in. Get this nice and wet. We'll just have to add. Might have to wait until it dries. Probably be a good idea. I kind of softened it out a little bit. I do like that. All right, I like that. And then I wanted to make some around his eye. Just a little bit. And right around here. But I want to definitely go in straight in with the white on his eye, which I can't forget to do that. And it's basically just going to be like a little dot. You can add in a couple little dots on there and just kind of combine them. There we go. I like that a whole lot better. I mean, he is a really like little like a little furry bunny here. So if you wanted to come in and add a couple little strands, even though the reference that I'm using does not have that on his little ears, I think it's really cute just to go in there and add it. So I am really, really happy with this on the way it looks. I know I don't want to get too carried away with this, but I can very much get carried away with it. So once this dries, I can go back in and soften out some of the, or actually add his whiskers back in. But for some of these edges that, if you see any like harsh edges that you don't really care for and you want to soften those edges out just a little bit, you can come back in with water. That's what I like to do. That way they're just kind of softened out. I don't have to do it to all of them, but just a few that maybe just stand out a little bit too much on the edges. Just soften them out on the edges there. I mean, even this white, if it's a little bit too much and you get carried away, you can always come back in, soften those edges out, and make it an outside lining that's a little bit more highlighted. Like his little mohawk here, if you wanted to come in and just kind of lighten up some of those little hair marks, you can, like the little ends there. I like to soften them up just a tad. And it also makes it to where it doesn't look like a straight lines everywhere. It actually kind of softens it to where it looks more like the clumps and little clusters you'd rather see in fur. If you do that, just kind of adds more of that type of look. There we go. Soften it out to a point on that side. And anything that I see here that may be just a little bit too harsh, just add a little water, soften them out. All right. I really like these. These are like my favorite. All right, he is super, super duper cute. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I don't think this is dry yet. So before I do anything, I'm gonna use the hair dryer, so it'll be just a second. And I'm gonna go ahead and dry this and add those whiskers back in before I call him done. All right, so I got done hair drying this. And I'm gonna go ahead and take out that, I think it's a dagger. Yeah, it's a dagger. It's a 1/4-inch dagger that I'm using. If you're wondering what type of brush I'm using, I will actually list it below in my Amazon affiliates, just in case. So that way, if any of you like the brush, you can go check it out, because this is actually a really nice brush. And I put it in with my watercolor brushes. Okay, I don't want to go too wild with his little whiskers. Let me just add a couple little short ones here and there. Oops. That one I went a little bit too big on. I'm gonna try and clean that one up just a little bit. Like, yep. See if I got any. I think my sepia, or is that actually my brown? I could use my brown that I mixed up. I didn't have brown in the, oops, still wet. I want to do that. You have to wait until it dries again. And that's the one thing that's good about watercolors. They are forgiving. I'm just going to put a little bit too much of the yellow and the water in there. You don't want to do too much or it'll absorb and get to the bottom of the canvas. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice now. I've got allergies. I've had allergies for a while. Make this a little bit darker. Trying to add a little bit more color in there in his little mouth area. Let's see here. Do I have, here's the sepia. Let's add a little bit of water to it. Maybe my browns, just any kind of darker kind of color. That ain't too wet. There we go. He has to have a little lip there. But I also want it super tiny. Oops. Got a little hair on there. Blame it on my puppy dog. It's my puppy that did that. All right, so I got my little bunny in there. I'm super happy with him. I think he's super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign him because I think he looks good enough. Even if I do sign him and I see anything that maybe I might need to work on or something that I might need to fix, you can always go back and do that. But for me, I like him. I think he's fabulous. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the future for just 1 second. So I ended up finding out that I had dropped a little bit of water on the pink area on the left-hand side. And what it did was it caused it to have a big white spot in it. and I went back in with some of my green, my jade green that I had, and added it to it. I actually added a little bit of white, made it kind of misty, kind of like the other green below, but by adding in a little bit more darker green, I was able to make it look just a little bit better. So just to let you guys know, even though you think it's done, something could happen or things come up and you add a little bit more to it to make it that much more better. So things are not done until they're completely done and safe away from water or any other mishaps that you might have. All right, so let's go back to the signing. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign. I'm going to use the P.H. Martin, Dr. P.H. Martin, Blue Proof White. And I'm going to go ahead and sign. I really like that side, but we're going to go with this side. All right. So there we go. I got my little signature on there, and this one here is ready to go. I absolutely love this one, by the way. I love the colors that I was able to create using the Shimiki Aqua drops, and by adding some of the white in there to create these pastel looks. It's just extremely gorgeous. The only thing is that I thought whenever I bought this that I could actually use it on its own, kind of like the pH the Dr. P.H. Martin's Blue Proof White. I thought it was going to be kind of similar to that, but more in liquid form, but it isn't. But it's still something that you could definitely use with your aqua drops, or quite possibly you could probably use these in your watercolors. I mean, you can always put this and mix it with some other maybe watercolors that you have and make them more into an opaque, more pastel kind of look if you're wanting to do that. So you can probably get the same effect. I mean, it is definitely light fast, so that's a plus. All these are light fast. So you can definitely sell your artwork if that's what you like to do. But definitely a thumbs up. Got a cute little bunny right here, perfect for Easter. And yes, if you are interested in any of these, like I said, I have them linked below. And please leave a like. Definitely helps the channel grow. I usually always say that toward the end of the video. Usually I should say that in the beginning. But anyways, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next video. Bye, you guys.